Shortly they arrive in the metropolis, and Hero doesn't receive what Mary pledged. He grows restless and contemplates that he shouldn't have consented to her entreaty. As he strides back and forth across the reception area in her fortress, he resolves to return to the woods instantly. But Mary descends, after shifting into some pristine garments, and feigns distress that Haru is attempting to depart. Even though she intends to entertain him lavishly, he has no alternative but to comply with her, and to his astonishment, her method of expressing gratitude is superior to his anticipation. She provides him with a multi-course meal that would cause vegetarians to asphyxiate and perish. He commences devouring the meat like a barbarian, and Mary is vexed by his dearth of etiquette. Regardless, she compensates him with a sack of coins and a privileged identification badge that permits him to ingress and egress the metropolis as he desires. However, much to her chagrin, Haru doesn't give her any notice, because he is occupied gobbling down the victuals. The following day, he gets encircled by the class president and other females who desire to know where he passed the previous evening. Haru informs them that he received an invitation to the residence of this town's administrator, and guarantees them that it wasn't because he was endeavoring to flee to the woods. The girls trust him, and then depart for the woods themselves, to advance in level and acquire some provision. Once they are absent, Haru prepares to leave the metropolis as well, and this time he is certain that the identification badge is going to allow him passage through everything. Before departing, he purchases some merchandise from the Peculiar Fellow's store, and some sustenance for his comfortable solitary existence in the woods. He also composes a message for the class president so that she doesn't become enraged, stating that he is going to watch out for the athletes since he is apprehensive about them. Since it is not entirely untrue, Haru believes that this would be sufficient to prevent the class from searching for him. With that, he proceeds to the entrance and displays the large guard his identification badge to exit the metropolis lawfully. He feels comfortable in the woods with the untamed creatures and beasts existing unrestrained. He yearns for his dwelling and reflects that he can finally become a recluse like he was destined to be again. Just then, an orc assaults him from behind, but Haru effortlessly subdues it with his rod. However, he deems it peculiar because orcs are not meant to be located in the outer sections of the woods. He surmises that something suspicious is occurring here, and walks further into the woods, where he discovers a massive bloodstain on the earth. Haru briefly alarms, questioning if this blood belongs to the intellectual, which is improbable because they are experts when it comes to matters in an alternate realm. He speculates that it is most likely the blood of the athletes or the hooligan, and chooses to pursue the extensive trail of blood. He locates the athletes gravely wounded, and his heart aches, thinking that they may have initiated a conflict with the hooligans and perished. However, he observes one of them is still respiring, and he promptly utilizes all the restorative mixtures he concocted from the fungi on them. He hopes that they can recuperate because Sam Sulek would, and his aspirations are fulfilled as the leader of the athletes opens his eyes. Haru escorts them all to his cavern where they recount to him what truly transpired. They attempted to confront the hooligans to safeguard the females, but then abruptly Tanaka, who was supposed to be their subordinate intellectual, betrayed them. He eliminated all the hooligans, and even pilfered the powerful weapons that they obtained upon arriving in this realm, and they had no option but to escape from him. However, he apprehended them, and they were no equal for him. The athletes state that Tanaka was alarmingly potent, and he was seeking the class president with an unwavering resolve. Even the strongmen are astute enough to comprehend that Tanaka is searching for the special ability that has to be with the class president. Haru is astonished that the athletes can actually reason, and they inform him that Tanaka lost track of the class president, so he battered them nearly to death, presuming that they would go to her for assistance. However, the athletes were prepared to forfeit themselves, and instead, they crept towards Haru's cavern, so that he would be enticed there and Haru would be capable of addressing the predicament. They request his aid to vanquish Tanaka, and while he didn't desire to become entangled with others initially, he can't withdraw from this conflict. He informs the athletes that he will handle Tanaka, but he is going to combat solo. Everyone is stunned, but the athlete leader trusts that Haru has a scheme. Haru instructs them to hasten to the town and maintain the female's security while he manages the circumstances here. He understands that having the athletes on his side would augment his prospects of triumph, but if all of them were to expire in the battle, the females would be left vulnerable. That is why he considers that battling Tanaka is his burden to carry, and he intends to gain strength swiftly. He commences formulating a tactic to counteract the potent weapons that Tanaka has seized from the athlete, as he has witnessed while battling the brigand. Weapon abilities are formidable, but there is no method to halt them once they commence. That is why he determines to devise a novel ability that has no flaw. Just then, he detects some goblins sniffing the blood trail and resolves to utilize them as experience points. He rapidly defeats the high-level goblin, but they expire in a single strike and don't provide him with much. Haru desires to combat a stronger adversary, and then unexpectedly he senses a powerful beast nearby. He rotates to discover the goblin monarch, who charges at him without a caveat. Haru can only evade the goblin monarch's merciless assault, and recognizes that it is employing some sort of weapon ability. He knows that one blow and he would be dispatched to meet his creator, but he resolves to conquer the beast and become more potent. He merges the diverse abilities he possesses and reinforces his rod to take down the goblin monarch with a single blow. He is content with his strategy and advancement when abruptly an even stronger beast emerges behind him. It is a level 50 goblin sovereign, and Haru perceives that he can't achieve anything against it if he confronts it directly. So he does precisely that and charges at the goblin sovereign with the new strategic ability he has created. He succeeds in striking the goblin sovereign, but his assault inflicted negligible harm. The beast rises again and then ambles like Jackie Chan in Drunken Master before abruptly assaulting Haru, barely grazing his face. Haru continues dodging the barrage of the goblin sovereign's assault, and then executes a counterattack as he perceives an opportunity. He achieved a considerable reduction in the beast's health gauge, but it utilizes a restorative ability to replenish its health and even amplify its strength. The beast then dispatches a flying slash at Haru, propelling him crashing into the trees behind him. He is exhausted and battered by now, but he convinces himself that he is merely being a coward because the athletes endured even graver wounds than him, so he should be alright at this stage. He regains his footing and assaults the goblin sovereign, and after combating throughout the entire night, Haru ultimately succeeds in vanquishing it and attains level 11. He emits a victorious bellow to commemorate, and then proceeds back to his dwelling in the woods. He examines his statistics after leveling up and discovers more about how to utilize his abilities. The strategic assault that he devised earlier has been documented as an ability now, and Haru is certain that it possesses no vulnerability, which will prove useful in his confrontation against Tanaka. Later that evening, as Haru is positioned outside his cavern, Tanaka arrives to confront him. He is disillusioned because he had expected the athletes to guide him to the class president, but instead, they brought him to the solitary individual of the class. He states that it is unfortunate that he couldn't locate the class president even after all he performed, including manipulating the dim-witted hooligans and separating the class into distinct factions. Haru is enraged and inquires what he did to the other males, and Tanaka declares that he eliminated them a considerable time ago. He doesn't even regard Haru as a menace, and advises him to relax with his ineffectual abilities in the woods. Haru directs his rod at him, and Tanaka tells him to remove his filthy and malodorous stick from his face. That's what she said. Haru informs him that even though he is a recluse, he will safeguard the class president, and Tanaka smirks menacingly as he states that he will slay him first in that instant.